Welcome back into K-Nation. After back-to-back losses, KU men's basketball used a hot start and never looked back against NC State yesterday.
They sure did not look back, but I caught up with KLWN Sports Director Sean Kellerman, who does the Jayhawks pre- and post-game show, to talk about what went right and what to look out for going forward. Obviously a step in the right direction here today. What do you think the biggest reason is for that?
Well, I think, first of all, it was just important for KU to get back in the win column. I think, fans and KU fans are so well educated. We're always going to nitpick on how a team can be better, but bottom line is it's been 2 weeks since KU got a win. So the fast start was definitely key to answer your question, Landon. 15-0 off the jump, and it's kind of funny, that was the difference in the game, right? Because KU ends up winning by 15, but you knew the guys would come out with some energy, and they kind of punched NC State in the mouth early. And again, you talk about the game as a whole, a lot of things to like. It wasn't perfect, but certainly you got a more aggressive Zeke Mayo. He had a great night, his best as a Jayhawk. And then Hunter Dickinson, a lot of people will nitpick on his play in particular. Man, he was incredible. 21, 14, 7 assists, maybe 8, depending on who you ask. But everything ran through him offensively, and it just looked a lot better. And I think the big key for KU is getting something out of Zeke. Eventually they'll get something out of Storr and Griffin too. But that kind of shows that as long as one of those guys is contributing on offense, you know what you're going to get from the seniors. As long as one of those guys is being a big-time contributor, then you're going to look like a top 10 team like KU did tonight.
I want to go back to Hunter, almost a triple-double, but the stat that really stuck out to me is his plus-minus was 30, especially in a 15-point game, a game where he played 28 minutes. How much does his presence mean on the court overall? Because we also saw with the substitutions, KU wasn't playing that great.
Oh man, it's absolutely massive. And it's funny, you think back to a couple years ago, and KJ was playing the 5 for KU. I mean, he was the starting 5, and everybody was saying throughout the season, we'd give anything to have a guy go 20 and 10. And it's interesting, Hunter takes some flack. This dude gives you a double-double 80% of the time, and usually it's not just 10 rebounds, right? He gets 14 tonight. As much as we will hone in on what the Hawks need to do better, Dickinson out there is just absolutely massive. Any team in the country would like to have him, and we need to focus more as KU fans on what he does so well and how important of a piece he is.
I'll hit you with the but. But when he gets in foul trouble, how much should we be concerned about how his backups played today, or is it Flory just got in foul trouble and had to play less aggressive?
Yeah, I think with so many bigs in particular, when they come in as freshmen, they struggle with 2 things, and it's fouls and turnovers, right? And Flory's going through a little bit of a rut right now. It's tough to get into a groove when you're only playing so many minutes. He kind of falls into that category of when you get out there, you're going to play hard, and a lot of times that's going to result in those fouls.
I want to know your take on AJ Storr, a guy I feel like a lot of us were excited about coming into the season. In and out of the starting lineup and maybe dipped off a bit lately. Where do you think he's at?
I think, first of all, team-wise, AJ Storr has to be a great player for KU to be in the Final Four. No doubt about that. A top 5 transfer coming in. He hasn't got as much opportunity. He just hasn't had as many minutes. But I do think that he's key for a lot of reasons. Number one, he is the most likely candidate for KU to kind of shake their free throw woes. And I'm not talking percentage-wise, I'm talking rate-wise. AJ Storr of KU's roster is the most likely guy to get to the rim, beat guys off the bounce. And we see that, and I guess we know that because we've seen that throughout his career at Wisconsin. Coach Self saying at the press conference earlier this week, at Wisconsin, he averaged upwards of 4 free throws per game, and here it's closer to 1.5 per game. That's a pretty big drop-off. And again, some of that is minutes related, but AJ, I think, is going to come around. I think with him and Rylan Griffin, and to an extent Zeke Mayo as well, of course Zeke pops off tonight, so tonight notwithstanding, I think I saw a lot of trying to fit in last week, when what KU needs from these guys is go out and be the individual players that we brought you here to be. There's a lot of, all right, program guy in KJ and DeJuan and a guy who's been here a couple years now, and Hunter, and how do we fit in? It's like, we'll worry about that later. Go be the players that you can be, and I think it'll eventually gel. But it's early. You don't want your team to peak in December, and that's why I have so much confidence. Even like Rylan Griffin tonight, I mean, he misses 4 threes. He's not going to miss those threes very often. I mean, he is going to eventually catch fire, and he's going to be a big-time point scorer for KU. So I'm looking forward to the team continue to gel, find their chemistry, and certainly those 3 transfers, they are key to KU playing in the Final Four because you know what you're going to get from the other guys.
I tell you what, man, he had a lot of great things to say, including but not limited to. The starters looked great yesterday.
Right.
If the bench can step it up, it's going to be hard to have a team beat them.
Seems like that's been the X factor last couple of years.
Last 2 years, that's right. Stick around. We're going to wrap up K-Nation after the break.